Hi, glad you could join me. This is our second Stamp and Share segment, and tonight we're going to be making our next card. So glad you could join me. The card that we're going to be making tonight is this Mother's Day card, but I wanted to tell you, if you will stick with me all the way to the end, I don't think we'll be going a whole hour tonight, and at the end, after we're done with the card, I'm going to show you an up-close look at the May project so that you can determine if that's something you want to do. The details are in the announcement at the top of the page, and it'll give you all the details of what you might want to order, and it'll show you the pictures, but I thought I'd show you close up what the projects for May are going to be. So let's look at the card that we're going to do just in time for Mother's Day. If you have the kit, you will have enough to do the one with us tonight, and then 3 additional. You can dress those up even more if you like, but this is what we're going to do tonight. So let's talk about what we need to do the card. Again, we're going to be using the Timeless Tulip stamp set. We're featuring this all month, so all the projects that we're doing this month will feature this stamp set. There is a punch set that you could also purchase if you wanted to that will punch out the large tulip and one of the leaves. So that's available for purchase as well. If you got the kit, then you will have everything you need. So this is the stamp set that we're going to feature. Then I also used, this is the Ornate Layers dies, and this is carrying over to the new catalog, so you'll be able to have more of it. But this second largest frame is what we're going to be using tonight, so you'll need that. And then I pulled out the mini messages set. If you get this set comes, and you'll see that I mine's all sticking to my case, but I cut mine all apart because I'll use it more that way. But it comes as one big block of sentiments. So the idea is that you would stamp the whole page, and then you would use the die set to cut them all out, and you'd have all these different sentiments ready to go. But I knew that I would use them more cut up. So I'm in the process of cutting the stamps up, and I have not cut the die up, but I plan to do that as well. But we're going to use this one right here for our map, for our sentiment layer tonight. So this one right here. Okay? So let's talk about the cardstock that you'll need. And if you have the kit, just bear with me. I want to go through this stuff so that the people joining me on video making the card would know what they will need. So you're going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock. And this is the traditional, the standard card size. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And then we have a piece of the Rococo Rose, and this is retiring at the end of April, so if you like this color, you'll want to definitely order you a pack of it because it will be retiring. And this is 5 1/4 by 4. Here is that little sentiment layer that I told you that we die cut with that die. This is basic white, and I ran that through with the Ornate Layer border die that I showed you. And we're going to do more with this in a moment. And then you'll just need a piece of ribbon, and this is the metallic edge ribbon that is the pinkish color. And we're just going to need a little piece of that tonight as well. So let's get started with the card. So if you pull out this, you'll notice that a lot of it is punched out, but there are some spots where it's cut, but it's not punched out. So that's the first thing that we have to do, is we have to get all our little pieces punched out. I have the Take Your Pick tool, and I just go in with this. And so we're just going to punch out. We'll just talk a little and punch a little. How about that? Hope everybody's having a good week. do this right at the beginning of the week, kind of set the tone, give you a nice Monday evening relaxed time, crafting time. So you just want to go around the edge and punch all these out. And I will tell you this, when you run an intricate die like this one has a lot of little pieces, a lot of times what I will do, instead of putting the paper down and then putting the die down on top, I will put the die face up on the bottom and then put the paper on top, and it seems to cut all the little intricate details a little bit better that way. But let's just go ahead and punch all these little doodads right out of there. And you can see I'm catching mine on a piece of paper, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that in just a moment. So we're just going to go through here and keep punching them out. Sometimes you'll have more than other times to punch out. And I thought about not going through this, but if you got the kit, you're going to need to do this to make your card tonight. So I thought, let's just leave it in the video. Let's just do it together, and that way you won't miss anything. So we're just going to keep punching. You could use the end of a pencil. You could use a little tack, just anything small that's going to punch those little spots. And then you're going to want to run your fingers along the back. Sometimes, remember the hanging chads a few years ago? And that's as political as I'm going to get. But sometimes you'll have those little hanging chads on the back. So you just want to come in with your fingers and just brush those off. Okay, looks like I got mine just about finished. And I'm going to give you a moment to finish yours up while I tell you something else. Looks like mine's ready. But you go ahead and keep punching yours. But I want to tell you what I do, especially with these little curlicue pieces. And I'm going to try to get one off here and put in my hand so you can see it better. I save these. I don't throw them away. I have a little container, a little Tupperware container, and you can see it's full of a bunch of little doodads, and I keep those right in there. You could keep the tear-shaped ones if you want those as well. And here's what I do with those. If I'm making a shaker card, I might throw in some sequins, and I might throw in a few of these. You can see that I have some little hearts that I cut out with a blue cardstock. And I have these in here as well. I just keep this whole little thing, and then so when I do a shaker card, I have some stuff that I can just pull out of here to put in my shaker card. So that's just a tip, just a idea for something you might want to do if you think you might want to make shaker cards. That's a cheap way to get some stuff to put inside your shaker card, okay? So now we're just going to do some stamping. And if anybody's not caught up, just type in a comment, hey, hold on, wait, I'm still punching, and I will just yak a little bit while you're getting there. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and go. That's the nice thing about live. You can type in the comment and say, I need another minute to finish, and we can hold up. But I don't see any comments, so we're going to go ahead. So let's take our little piece that we're going to type our sentiment, or stamp our sentiment on. And we're going to get the Happy Mother's Day stamp and put it on your block. And we're going to do this in the black memento ink. And I would just as a tip, if you are new to stamping, if you are a avid stamper, if you've been doing this a while, then you feel really confident about just inking up and stamping right on there. If you're new to stamping and this is all new to you, stamp on your scrap paper to make sure that you're inking it up or that you're getting it straight. It just gives you a little confidence. Just go ahead and stamp it on your scrap paper, and then you're going to say, oh, okay, I can do that. And then you can stamp it on your real one. If you're wondering why this block looks a little different, it's real thin. This is what comes if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin. This will come in the first kit that you get. So if you do a 6-month subscription, in the first box that you get, you will get one of these blocks, and they're thin. But that's where this came from, and I just wanted to use that tonight to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to ink up. And we're just going to stamp right on our little sentiment layer. We're just going to center it on there and press down. And I forgot to get out and that turned out okay, so I'm happy with that. But for the next stamping, I want to make sure to get out my foam piece. Whenever you're using the polymer stamps, it's always good to have a foam piece underneath. And you can get, this is really cheap. I had some of this. This is like for use in packing to give a little padding if you're sending something. And I just put this underneath and it works just fine. So that's what I'm going to use tonight. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our stamping on our frame. We've got this real pretty frame, and we're going to create our flower piece. Now, we're going to use all 3 tulips. There's 3 different size tulips in this stamp set. There's the large one, the medium, and then the small that's more of a bud. I liked having them be different colors. We're using the Blushing Bride pink ink. And so what I did is I stamped the big one at full strength. Then for the other 2, I'm going to stamp off on my scrap paper and then stamp on my piece so that it's a little bit lighter than the main flower. You do not have to do that step if you want to stamp them all first generation stamp and not stamp off. You can definitely do that. I just like the look of having the 2 smaller ones a little bit lighter. And I'll show you how I did that to get it to look like it's behind the larger one in just a moment. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can start with your stems and then put your flowers on top. What I would rather do, what I prefer to do, just so that I can make sure that I'm getting my flowers, because my flowers are more important than the stems, I'm going to stamp my flowers first, and then we can always put the stems in. That's no big deal. So we're going to start with this large flower. So you want to get that on your block. Okay. All right, and I'm going to bring in my Blushing Bride pink. And we're just going to ink this up. And then you're just going to place it wherever you want it, wherever you want your largest flower. And just stamp it down. There you have it. Now I'm going to do the little one. I want to give that one a moment to dry. So I'm going to go to the little one next, because the little one is not, I'm not putting it behind the large one. It's just going to be kind of off to itself over here. And every one of these you do is going to look a little different, because you're never going to place them exactly in the same spot twice. And that's okay. That's the beauty of it. If you make one Mother's Day card and you don't need, and you have the kit to make 4, you can always make it a happy birthday. You can change the greeting on it. So we're going to ink this up. And here's where I'm just going to stamp once off on my scrap paper. That I've still got ink on here, but it's going to be a lighter image, and that's what I wanted. Okay, so and then I'm just going to come in here, and you can tilt it a little. You could go straight up. I'm going to tilt mine just a little, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp. And you can see it's lighter. I kind of wish I had used my Stamparatus so I could go back over that and make it a little bit darker, but we're just going to go with it. Okay, and then we're going to come in with the medium size. Now, I have one of the large tulips that I used the punch, and it's just a scrap piece. You could actually even use this for one of your other cards turn it over, you can see where I played on the other side of mine, but you could use it for this and then turn it over, stamp on it, and use it on another card if you wanted to. But we're going to use this, and we're just going to put it down on top of our stamped one. That just protects it so we don't get ink on the one that we already stamped. And then I'm just going to come in, and then I'm going to stamp so that my medium tulip is going part way on that mask that we just put down and part way on the frame. So we pull this off, and it looks like that's sitting behind our large tulip. Okay, now we're ready to come in with our stems. So I'm going to close up my Blushing Bride. We're done with that. And I'm using Garden Green. You could use Old Olive, you could use Mossy Meadow, whatever, Granny Apple Green. There's a lot of different shades of green. You could use whichever one that you like. I'm using the Garden Green tonight. I'm going to open that up. And I'm going to start with, if you look on the stamp set, there's one stem that's a little straighter. The other one's got a little bit of curve. We're going to start with the straight one, and we're going to do the large flower, the middle, first. Okay? And this is where you're going to need your scrap paper as well, because you're probably going to stamp off the bottom. So trying to get this to move a little bit on me. I want my stamping on top of the foam piece, but I want this high enough that when I stamp, the edge can go off of onto the scrap paper. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure my stem is the way I want it. This one's going to be pretty straight. And then I'm just going to ink it up. And then I'm going to come in, and I'm going to line the top of the stem up with the bottom of the flower and press down. Now for the other two stems, I'm using the curvy one because you can curve it either way. Right now it's curved, it's going this way. And so if you flip it over, that's kind of the curve I want on this. You could definitely, because this is this polymer, you can manipulate it however you want it. I think, and so you just want to kind of play around with it and get it the way you want it. Think about how you want your stem to be. I kind of want that one to go like that. I'm doing the medium one next. And I don't have any ink on it. I'm just holding it to see if I like that. And I like that. Okay, so I'm just going to ink it up. And then I'm going to come back. And I'm just going to stamp. Okay. And then I'm just going to clean my stamp because I want to bend it the other direction. So I want to clean this off a little bit. And I want to think about how I want this next one to, how I want the curve to be. And I'm just going to manipulate it a little bit. Now see, that would be the wrong curve. So we want to go back the other way. So you because of the type of stamp this is, you definitely have a little bit of play. And I kind of want it just like that. Okay? So then I'm just going to ink it up. And then I'm going to come in. And I'm just going to go at the bottom of my flower and stamp down. Okay. Now, you can come back in with either of the two leaves. You can use both. You can use one. One is a little bit thinner of a leaf. One is a little bit larger of a leaf. So this is where, you know, it's just whatever you like and however you want it. So I think that I am going to use the bigger leaf on this side here because I have more room there. So I'm just going to ink this up, and my stamp fell off, so I'm going to pull it over here. Okay. And I'm just going to ink that up. And I'm going to, I want the point to be down here where the stems are. So I'm just going to line that up like that and stamp. Okay. Then I want to use the little leaf. I like the look of the little leaf. And I want to do it in between, and then I want to do it over here. So since over here there's nothing in the way, I want to do that one first. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here, and again I want the leaf to come off of the stem, and I'm just going to stamp it like that. Okay, now I want one more. You would not have to put another leaf in the middle if you like that. I kind of like having that other, and I'm going to clean my stamp off just so I can lay it down and play. I wouldn't want to do that with ink on it, so I'm going to take the ink off. And I kind of want it to go about there, but if you can see, that would be right over top of my little flower. So you can either stamp a little flower and fussy cut it out. I'm just going to use the same mat because I think I can pretty well match the rounded part of that little tulip with my large, the same one I used to mask up here. I think I can make that fit well enough right there. And then I'm going to ink up again. And I'm going to be sure to hold this down right where I need it and figure out how I want my leaf to go. And then I'm just going to stamp down. And because we have that mask, it didn't go over our little tulip. Now, this looks like a mess right here, but we're going to cover that up. That's where our sentiment's going to go. We're going to have some ribbon in there, so that's fine. You're not going to see all that, okay? So let me bring the card back in, and we're going to start putting it together. I'm going to close up my green so I don't set anything in it. And we're going to go ahead and put some Stampin' Seal on the back of our Rococo Rose layer. And we're just going to line that up and press down. Then we're going to come in with our frame piece, and I'm going to put mine just like that. Yep. Okay. So we can go ahead and put this on. Same thing. We're just going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back. This one is really a pretty easy card. You could definitely put this together pretty quickly. Okay, and I'm just going to try to center it here. There, we're just about done. Now for the ribbon, I wanted to, let me bring in the finished card so that you can get an idea of what we're doing. I just wanted to put a little bit of a loop and then come behind the sentiment. So there's a lot of different ways you could do that. You could hold your loop, you could loop it. And hold it and tape it to the back. I'm trying to figure how big I want the loop. What I like to do, I'm going to have the loop coming up from this side. So what I like to do is just take my Stampin' Seal and run me a little bit on that top and the opposite bottom. And then I can come in with my loop and I can kind of decide how high I want my loop to go, right? Okay, so I'm just going to put my loop, I'm just going to press it in that Stampin' Seal, and then I can pull one side, I can just pull it down however I want it, and then I can kind of pinch it together. And so then I can play with the bottom parts to decide where I want those to come out. And so I'm just pressing them in that Stampin' Seal that I have on the back. And I want that loop just a little bit smaller. Okay. Just like that. And then I'm just going to come in with my scissors and I'm going to trim these at an angle. And once I get them on the card, I can always trim them again if I need to. So I'm going to trim that off. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. And I'm just going to put them right over top of the ribbon. And we're going to peel the backing off. Okay, and I can see that I need this, and that's the other nice thing about it is you can always pull this up and adjust it a little bit if you need to, and I definitely need to. Okay, so I'm just going to put this right in there. And then we're just going to fold it. And you have your card done. You have your Mother's Day card done and ready to go. You could come back on the card I did. I left it just like that, but you could easily come in with some of the champagne mist gems. And I'm just going to, just to show you, you could just put a few of these on there to dress it up. Like that. Just give it a little added pizzazz. And there you have it. Your card's done. Your Mother's Day card is done early and ready to go. So there you have it. I want to show you a good up-close look of the cards we're going to do for May. Since we have the time to do it, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do for May so that you can know if this is something that you want to do. All the details are in the post at the top, the announcement, and as it says, if you place an order with me in the month of April, $50 or more order, I will send you the kits for these free. Otherwise, you can just craft along with me if you already have the stuff to make these. This is going to feature the Hydrangea Haven stamp set. And so we're going to start with this one. And we're going to do kind of progressive. We're going to start with stamping the hydrangea. Why is that word so hard to say? And then on the second one, we're going to use the die cut for the hydrangea. And you can pop these up as much as you want or as little as you want, but we're going to use a die cut flower instead of the stamped flower. And then for the third one, we're going to do this really fun double Z fold. So if these projects are something that you think you would like to do, this is going to be what we're going to do for the month of May. I'm probably going to change up. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do the fourth week of the month. I had been planning to do paper pumpkin, but I might change that up. It might be more of a mystery kit kind of thing, or a maybe even a mystery craft night where we just make something off the cuff. I haven't totally decided. I will tell you that the fourth week in April, that was going to be paper pumpkin, I'm going to need to cancel that. I'm going to be going out of town that week, so we'll be doing the 3 projects that we said we would do, and then that fourth week, instead of doing the paper pumpkin, we just won't have Stamp and Share that fourth week. And then in May, the last week of the month, that's Memorial Day, I will not have Stamp and Share on Memorial Day either. So just a heads up what's coming up. I hope you enjoyed tonight's project and creating a little something for your mom, or, you know, that special lady in your life. Maybe my mom's already passed on, but I have a mother-in-law, and I have other ladies that are very special to me that are kind of step in the place of a mother at times. So for that special lady, you could do this card. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will join me again next week. Next week's project is a little basket. We're going to do this basket next week. So you'll definitely want to come back next week so that we can work on this together. If you have not checked out my YouTube channel, check that out and subscribe. I have my Facebook group as well as this page, so check that out. And if you want to order any supplies or any of the things that you'll need for the May Stamp and Share, you can do that at karensmith.stampinup.net. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you'll join me next Monday for another Stamp and Share. Bye-bye.